Right, so welcome back. Nice cup of tea. We have a sofa repair. As the observants amongst you might have noticed, this isn't the entire sofa. This is just the seat unit. The customer called complaining that their seat had gone really soft on one side where they sit. A dip was created in it. Now the first question that people say, oh, can you come out? Can you do it from the underside of the sofa? Yes, it can be done from the underside of the sofa, but not correctly, in my opinion. You can do a temporary repair, is the nicest way to put it. Once upon a time, we might have called it a bodge, from the underside of the sofa in the customer's house. It works, it will last a little while, but it's not doing the job properly. And we always try to advise people that that's not how we like to do things here. In this case, the customer accepted that and we went out to see the job. On opening up the bottom of the sofa, I'll show you in a minute, it's not disastrous. We're not going to find any dead animals or anything like that. There's no clickbait involved in this video. A repair was needed. Fortunately for them, we were able to remove the seat from the sofa to take the seat away. Didn't need to take the entire sofa. They can't use their sofa because we have a seat, but it was easier for me just to take the seat away. So I'll stand this up so you can have a better look at the underside of the sofa. Just move it a bit closer. There you go. So, like I said, this is the side that the customer had concern. It's not disastrous. This is what we normally find in a sofa nowadays. They don't use canvas. Why they don't use canvas? Save a couple of quid. I don't know. You can use a canvas on it and it would eliminate the issue that this customer has got, or part of it anyway. Part of the issue is that the foam that they've used is a very soft foam. And what happens without the canvas on top of these webs, the webs have gone a little bit slack, and that's what the main issue is here, is that the canvas, when the cushion compresses, it pushes through the webbing. I hope you can see that here. And it creates these cuts in the foam, purely because there's no canvas on top of it. If it was canvas, this wouldn't happen. And the seat comes through the webbing. It gets rubbed, it crumbles, and you end up with a load of dust underneath your sofa, and it's because there's no canvas on it. I get it. They don't put a canvas on because they pull these tapes through the seat to create the fake cushion effect. But there are ways around that. You can get around that, still get that effect, and still have a canvas. So, anyway, the bodge that I was talking about, the repair that can be done on site in the house. Manufacturers have even done this when they send somebody out to do rectify a repair under warranty, is that you just take some offcuts of foam and stuff it in from the underside on top of the webbing, which pushes the foam up. But it's temporary, because what happens is that it cuts through the foam that they put on top, and it comes through. And it can also create an unsightly lump in the seat as well. Unfortunately, once the lever has stretched, it's very difficult to get rid of this stretching. My goodness, in the seat you can see it better on that one. It's showing up on the camera. This one's the one we're concerned about. The only way you can push this out is to push a lump into it, and you create this lump underneath it. So I advise people, we can replace the foam in the seat. We can add additional foam. We can replace the web, we can put canvas on it, but we're not necessarily going to be able to eliminate this stretching on the leather, unfortunately. So with this particular seat, I'm going to unpick the seat, peel it back so I can get to these webs. I'm going to replace this webbing in here. I'm going to put a canvas on, then I'm going to, which is the main issue, I'm going to address this by putting a piece of additional foam in this cushion, and that's because the customer didn't want us to replace the cushions in their entirety because they like the softness of this sofa and they didn't want it to become too firm. So to try, it's a bit of a compromise. Ideally, I want to replace the cushion fills, but the customer just wants us to put a bit of additional foam in there once we've replaced the webbing and put canvas in it. So that's what we're going to do with this job. So I'm going to unpick it, and we'll get back to you once it's unpicked and show you how the seat is constructed and what we're going to be doing next. Okay. Right, so I've unpicked round the sides and the joint in the middle that goes through the seat. I've unpicked that. So you're seeing this as first time as I've seen it. So let's pull this cover back and see what we find. Okay. You're probably not going to come across on camera very well, but I can see straight away that this left-hand cushion, as you're looking at the sofa, has obviously had more wear than the right. Haven't unpicked the front edge, just peeling everything back. That allows us access to this. We don't need to unpick the front of the cushion or the seat, so to speak. Not with this one, anyway. Some of them you do. Right, okay. Sorry, just some staples that I need to get out now before I cut my finger. Okay. So this is the cushion that's the main culprit as far as the customer's concerned. So let's just peel it back. Okay. Right, I don't want to take it out in its entirety because it's glued on this front edge here. We're not replacing the cushion in its entirety. Like I said to you, I would like to do that normally, but the customer wants the soft seat, but it's just too soft for them. And this is the repair we're doing here. We're not replacing its entirety. Right, but the cushion's coming away anyway. It's not been particularly very well fixed to the frame, so there you go. It's come away anyway on its own. Do the same with the other cushion. So we will put some additional foam in both sides of this cushion, just because I want them to look the same and feel the same the best we can. So that's the cushion out. I'll show you more clearly on this side the issue. This is the issue, what happens when you don't put a canvas on top of your webbing. See, we've just got the webbing here. It's very loose, the webbing. It wouldn't have started off like that, I'm sure. But the fact that the canvas, there's no canvas, this is what happens. The webbing cuts through this foam, which makes it feel even softer than what it would do even the springs have gone through there. So they could have saved this from happening just by putting a canvas on this job, and they'd have had happy customers for longer. So we'll take these out. I'm going to replace the webbing for new, and we're going to put a canvas on it. Now, one of the excuses they may have had for not putting a canvas on is because they pull these tapes on the centre of the cushion through here to create the fake cushion look. They could have done that with string or wire through the centre. There are other ways of doing it. It's just how this company's done it. So we're going to modify it. So we're pulling some tapes through the canvas. So the canvas is there, and we're just going to have needle holes going through it, so it's not going to destroy it. So I need to get this webbing removed and replaced before I can put a canvas on it. So that's the old webbing stripped out. The staples all cleaned off with a grinder, so I've got a nice clean base to start with. So now I've got to put the webbing on, the replacement elastic webbing. The frame's not bad actually. I've seen a lot worse, but it is cheaply manufactured. In a video I will do a comparison between a more traditional, better quality handmade frame that we use in our bespoke furniture compared to these sofas here, the mass-produced stuff. So you can see the difference. You only really notice the difference when it breaks. So there is a reason. You get what you pay for. But anyway, that's for another day. So let's get this webbed up. We're going to be using this 2-inch elastic webbing. It's slightly narrower than the webbing that was in there. Sorry about the compressor. Slightly narrower, but we're going to be putting more of it in there. So there you go. It's going to be better quality. So let's get this webbed. As you've seen us done on previous videos, we're going to lace the webbing together. So we're going to do back to front and then side to side and lace them in. Okay, so let's get on with that. Press has gone off now, fortunately. So about 3 inches from the side rail. Doesn't need to be any closer than that. If it's much closer than that, it's a bit pointless because you're sitting on the rail anywhere. So pulling it under tension front to back. Cut it off and do the next one. I'm going to do the next one 3 inches from this spring, and then we're going to subdivide it with cheaper frames, putting this elastic webbing in can cause its own issues. With the cheaper frames, the more webbing you put in, the more tension it puts the frame under, and you may end up with bowing rails. Right, so I'm just seeing what I can get in here. We'll be going for one in between there. Folding the webbing back on itself, less chance of it ripping through the staples. The more webs, the more support the seat gets, and the wider area that the weight is transferred across. So approximately 8 staples in each end of the webbing for those that are counting. Certainly the ends where I'm stapling it and folding it back, the ends that I'm starting from, because I'm folding the webbing back to start with, I'm putting 4 or 5 or 6. They're 10mm long, the staples, which is the minimum length I want to use, certainly for elastic webbing. Last one, front to back. Then the side to side. I start at the front, weaving it over, under, over, under, over, under, over the webs, spring, sorry. Again, we're going to staple this down the side because we've only got plywood here on this ends. It's 15mm ply, so we have to take the webbing over the side, staple it on the side. We can't put it in the end grain, so to speak, of the ply because it's just not going to hold the staples. So we went over on the first one, we're now going to go under and repeat as before. We'll have approximately 3 to 4 inch gap. already the seat is firmer than it was originally. So just continue this process. I'm not folding the webbing back on the ends here because it could create a issue with bolting the arms back on, because it could create a lump. So I am putting 2 rows of staples in each end, approximately 3/4 of an inch apart. Right, so one more row should just about do it. We don't need to go as close to the back rail as we do the front rail, simply because the back sits on top of this rail, so you're not sitting on this back portion. It's not gonna give us any advantage to take a webbing right to the back edge. Or should I say as close as we do on the front edge. So there is nice new webbing in there. Even if I was to put the sofa back as it was now, having just replaced the webbing, the customer would notice the difference. But we're not going to do that. We're going to canvas it and put a piece of inch foam in each seat, and then put it back together. So I'll just go and get the canvas, and I'll get that canvassed up, and you come back to me when I'm putting the foam in the seat. Right, so that's the seat canvassed up now. I'm ready to go. Right, now you can see here on the centre of this seat, this flaps that they got holding the centre of the seat down to get the faux cushion look. And that's why they possibly not put the canvas on. So what we're going to do, so we can use the canvas, is we're going to cut this off and run a twine, a heavy twine looped through it, that we can then needle through the seat itself and then pull that off without having to cut a big line through this canvas. We've just got the 5 or 6 holes through it. So let's get that trimmed off. I'll try to do it on camera for you. Got to retain a little bit. Okay. Right, my apologies about that. Just had a customer in. As you can see here, I've run the sisal string through. It's gone through the leather and the fabric that's there, so it's not going to pull out, but we'll cut or needle this through this canvas here when we put the cushion back together. So it's going to be a lot better because we've got the canvas on here. We just need to cut a small piece of foam to go in the centre of each one of these seats. As I say, the main issue with this particular seat wasn't so much the foam cushions, albeit they were soft. The customer was happy with them being soft, but they felt that they were sinking in the seat, and what the issue was the webbing had just gone that slack in it over time, and the lack of canvas, it wasn't giving the support for the foam cushion. So we've addressed that issue by replacing the webbing and putting canvas on here. We'll put a little piece of 1-inch foam in here, just belt and braces to make sure there's no issue, and then we'll get it back together. So there you have it. The seat's done, got new foam in it. A lot of the creasing's gone out on this side. On the side that the customer said they don't use, there seems to be more creasing. I'm not sure what's gone on there. It's all done, dusted. We've got the webbing, we've got the canvas on it now, so that seat's going to last a lot longer. I just need to finish off these ties and it's done. So I hope this has been informative. As always, it's just for entertainment. I'm not trying to teach you anything here, but if you take anything away from it, a better understanding on what could be going on with your sofa at home and how to do the job properly, you're possibly a little bit more informed. So always give us a like and subscribe, and we appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.